Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Let's Talk Automotive, episode 41. And in tonight's show, we have the latest and breaking F1 news. We review the Toyota Prado, and our guest tonight in studio is Peach van Pletzen.
And we're going to then play Game Time with Peach, and we're going to have a look at how things work, where we do episode 2 of what happens to your car when you take it in for a service, and then it's my favorite part of the evening, Tappet of the Week.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Let's Talk Automotive. So Peter, for you, another busy week. We had a couple of reviews that we shot this week, and looking forward to that in future episodes.
Yep.
But a story in the news again this week that just completely blows my mind is the new Renault logo.
Yeah, so Renault dropped their new logo this week.
Yes, that looks a lot different to the previous one.
Just a little bit of a side story on this, Fanie. I think we are in the wrong game because, according to Renault, this new logo design took over a year to develop.
Really?
Now, I'm just trying to imagine the marketing company that earned millions of euros designing that logo.
To do that for more than a year.
And it's not that much different from the concept that we've seen from the other manufacturers, where they've moved away from a three-dimensional look and feel to a very flat 2D one. But anyway, they justified it, as good marketing companies do, by saying that that logo has fluidity.
Oh.
Yeah. So there's a whole lot of, I must say,
nice.
there are some good images that back that up.
All right, guys, just remember that this is live and interactive. So if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, please, you can talk to us. Comment. We see that the guys are tuning in. If you want any, or if you have any questions for any of us, please, you can do that. If you have questions for Peach later when he's on, you can pop that into the comments below. All right, Pete, are you ready to get the show on the road?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so let's get into this week's news. All right, guys, so it's race weekend, and it's been a long time, and the fever is really getting to me right now.
I can't wait. I mean, every time I see an advert for either F1 or MotoGP, I've got to say I'm getting a little bit of a heart palpitation. So my family has already been informed that it's daddy time, and I'm out of commission for the whole weekend. Not
only F1, but also MotoGP. So, and again, breaking news with Marquez being in and then out again.
Remember what I said last year, Fanie?
Yeah.
That kind of injury, if it takes that long, is probably career-threatening stuff, and I don't want to be a prophet of doom, but the fact that he now has delayed beyond the second race is a real concern for me.
I agree. Okay, let's talk about F1, because that's really, it's completely mixed up. New cars, new races, new drivers. This is from the testing that's Mr. Vettel in his new green outfit, Aston Martin,
and he's got to be a dark horse this season, I reckon.
I really think so, Pete, because if you look at all the development and time and effort that the team's put into that Aston Martin, it's really hard.
Well, look at what Sergio Perez did, and I'm not undermining Sergio Perez's driving talents. I think he's a very, very good driver. Yes. But I think there's still been additional development that's taken place on the car.
Yeah.
And I think that Sebastian Vettel has, for the first time in a long time, been put in a position where he can dictate a few terms in terms of the design characteristics of the vehicle, and I think it's been built around him.
All right, let's look at the lineup, the new lineup. For this new season. Some interesting stuff. Lots of Alonso is back, and I hear that in the news Alonso reckons that he's still better than Hamilton and Verstappen and all the likes of the guys. So that'll be interesting. I'm not just 100% sure of his car.
Again, I think Alonso probably would have made it part of his terms and conditions that a lot of the car's design gets built around. And one thing you must remember, those cars are incredibly sensitive.
Yeah.
And so as a driver, if you can have that car set up around you, it's really a major step forward compared to if you are a Valtteri Bottas, for example, that almost has to take hand-me-downs from Hamilton and try and build something around that.
Even though they say it's not like that.
Yeah.
All right, so if we go on to the next slide quickly, interesting, the Netflix series Drive to Survive dropped on Friday last week, and I must say that I've watched all the episodes back to back, binge watch like the youngsters would say. Very, very interesting. And I told my wife when it started, I can't wait till we get to that series or the episode where George Russell is driving for Merck. I want to see the behind the scenes. I want to see the story. What happened there? So when we get to season 10, this is what George Russell tweeted. Getting to episode 10 and realizing you're not in it. Drive to Survive. Even Valtteri Bottas' bum got more screen time than George Russell.
Oh, is that what the icon stands for?
He's in the sauna and they actually showed his bum. So, very interesting how they kept that whole story under wraps.
Yeah, well, I think it was very, very, very controversial. I think Merck were very embarrassed. And let's face it, it took the Drive to Survive production team a season before they were allowed access to the AMG Mercedes team. So it doesn't surprise me, actually, in hindsight, to hear that they don't have that.
All right.
I've got a quick question before you move on.
We've got a Schumacher back this year as well.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was about to jump into. So I'm absolutely dying to see Mick Schumacher. I followed him very, very closely for the 2 seasons that he operated in F2.
Yeah.
And I've got to say, I'm absolutely thrilled that he's in F1, and he definitely deserves to be there.
Yes.
I mean, he drove a championship season literally last year. There was no luck involved. It was hard graft.
Agreed, yeah.
But I've got an interesting story for you about his race number in Formula One, which is 47.
Yeah.
I don't know, Fritz, if you've got a picture there.
No, he doesn't have
All
it.
right. So his number is 47, and there's actually 2 stories behind it.
Okay.
One is his version, and the other is a made-up version which he supports.
Okay.
So the number 4 is his favorite number. Okay. So it's his lucky number and his favorite number. So he picked number 4, and obviously number 7 was his dad Michael's race number.
Okay.
So there's the 47.
Yes.
But what sort of the folk stories out there came up with was that it was for Michael. Because obviously keep fighting for Michael.
Okay.
And Mick actually commented on that, and he said he quite likes that. And it just adds to the story.
Amazing.
So there's the story behind the number 47. And it would be interesting, actually, if we could do a future episode to figure out why the other drivers picked their particular numbers.
Oh, very interesting.
So, for example, Lewis Hamilton,
Yes.
number 44,
Yeah.
he said that was his race number from karting, although it was 43 when he was in karting. But nonetheless, I think that'll be a good one to actually go through.
Agreed. All right, guys, so I want to encourage you to watch the F1 Pit Box with Sasha and Gary right after the show at 7 p.m. right here on raceday.tv as well. All right, Pete, so that's it for this week. I think, pity, I'm on a shoot this weekend, so I won't be watching it live, but maybe Sunday evening when I get home.
Yeah, I can't wait.
All right, so let's move on to the review of the Toyota Prado, and this was a bit of a difference of opinion, I must say.
It was, but I think maybe that's part of why we have 2 of us doing a review, so that it's not one-dimensional, and I think it's a good thing. So yeah, let's push ahead and have a look at the review.
Let's have a look at this, and this is proudly brought to you by King Price Insurance. And remember, if you want to quote, you must SMS King to 31452. Let's have a look.
Now everyone's saying it. If you drive less, you pay less for car insurance. But how much less? A tad less. A smidge less. Around 20%-ish less? Or a whole lot less? Like 70% less for comprehensive car insurance from South Africa's hottest pay-per-K insurer, Chili from King Price. We're big into less. Like 70% less. Visit kingprice.co.za for a quote.
Hi and welcome everybody to Let's Talk Automotive. I'm Vishnu
And I'm Peter.
and we're here today with the new, improved, upgraded and bigger
It's just the all-new Toyota Prado. The all-new.
all new. Okay, we have a bigger grille for the housewife intimidation factor. Can you see it? It looks so nice in its blue color. I have upgrades to show you.
Okay.
Headlights have changed with these wingy thingies that sort of flipping across this to improve aerodynamics.
So this flicks the airflow so it doesn't make wind noise on
Thank you. There's
big
even
side
smaller
mirrors.
ones.
Yeah.
What? And look at this lovely color. So what else has changed?
Well, I'm trying to figure this out. You said to me this was the all-new Toyota Prado.
It is, but look
Okay.
how pretty it is.
Yeah, I don't disagree. But I'm looking for the all-new Prado, and what I'm seeing is the old Prado.
There's all new inside stuff, which we'll get into once we're driving.
Okay,
But
all right.
the light config.
Okay. I will show you something over here, and we've got little vortex generators on the side over here, which appeals to me in terms of the little detail in terms of the aerodynamics.
Also, the roof spoiler
Yeah.
is
Okay.
there. And yeah, pretty much this lovely color.
The color does stand out.
It's
for me.
dynamic. I
So
mean,
there is an introduction of new
absolute
colors for sure.
intimidation factor. And it announces that you've arrived.
Okay, but like, you got to convince me on this car. So let's take it for a drive.
And let's go through it.
Okay, Vish. You've been a very busy boy. You've just come from a launch, and now you are in the Toyota Prado, the 2.8.
Yes, the VXL, the luxury version. You can tell it's luxury because we've got this wooden veneer here to
nice
remind
touch.
us
Nice
that
touch.
we've got a bit of a luxurious feel. But you know Prados. Peter, I don't.
Well,
So
let me qualify that. My brother used to have a Prado, and so every time I'd go visit him in Cape Town, my enduring memory of this vehicle was this cooler box over here. And because my brother loves me, he used to come and pick me up with this cooler box filled with beers. And let me just point out that I was the passenger in the equation. over
okay, yeah,
here.
let's just clear those those things up.
But what are the competitors to the Prado? It's a bigger vehicle, so
Yes.
what is this up against?
Well, I think that's a good question. So let's just go quickly through the brands, right? The BMWs, it's super luxury. So your X5s, which is the same size category, Audi Q7, we know those don't sell. And the Mercedes GLEs, it's super luxury. So now you're looking at 400 to 500 and more. So let's take a notch down here. At 1.2, what is its direct competitor? For
Well,
me-
remember, we drove an A-Class for 1.2 million, so that puts it in perspective for me.
Yeah, so which brings me back to the features around them or what they've improved with this vehicle. Now we do have a touchscreen, and I know what you're going to say with the kind of LEDs, touchscreens, the kind of crazy tech we've had in other vehicles. Then you've still got to relate to price. It's functional from a point of practicality, and I'm being good cop here because this vehicle's impressed me. It's impressed me because its sheer road presence is undeniable. When people see you pulling up, and I mean, trust me, in Pretoria, you're the envy of everybody. You know, it's the evolution of certain cultures
Yeah.
where you start with a single cab Raider Hilux, you evolve, and now you know you've arrived when your wife's driving one of these and you've got a VX Land Cruiser. Maybe correct me.
Okay, let me throw something else out there as well. This shape fundamentally has not changed for too long a period of time. It's almost the same as the Porsche 911. You know, it's retained its same shape. You know, sometimes people battle to actually differentiate between a brand new 911 and an older one. You know, the Prado's guilty of that too, because this is the new Prado, but ultimately there's not much different other than a bit of a scoop in the bonnet and a few subtle changes on the
A
lights.
wider grille. Okay, I hear you. I still differ because I think that they've done more for Toyota. They've done more than enough, because if you look at the brand appeal, again, it sells itself.
But this shape's got to last another 8 to 10 years.
Why do you say that? With the model changes now, I mean, certain big brands, luxury brands, are changing models every 2 years.
Facelifts, but not whole models.
Yeah, agreed. So you're thinking even with the facelifts, there's not much you're going to change on this.
This to me is a facelift. You cannot sell me that this is the brand new, all new Toyota Prado. This to me is a generous facelift.
Okay, but here's the thing. It's got the new 2.8 GD6 engine in, which is upgraded to 150 kilowatts.
Okay, fair enough.
So you can physically feel the power difference between it. There's a lot of electronic aids to make this more off-road capable. We've got MTS.
Yeah, so MTS, you got your, so that's the multiple terrain.
Yes, select. You've got the crawl function, which allows you for the rock climbing, and this is not dealing with. Yeah. Anyway.
Okay. Well, let's talk about the diff locks that we got on here,
Yes.
because this is where it does start to impress me. So you've not only got a rear diff lock, but you've got a center diff lock. And I'll tell you something. There's very little you can't traverse with those two. Yes, you can get a front diff lock, but I mean,
that's G63 at 4 million.
Then you're really at serious. All the Land Cruiser bucky. Then you've got air suspension, I presume, on this
Yes.
on this model.
They called it. I actually need to look at it because I had to write it. It's called KDSS, Kinetic Dynamic Suspension System, which firms up the suspension as it detects terrain and stuff. So the technology is there. Maybe it's not visible in the form of a LED screen showing you all of this graphically.
Yeah.
Then I was curious. The second start.
Yeah. What is that?
Well, I don't think it's got a second engine for backup. So. We revealed that it's basically it allows you to start from second gear.
Okay, but what does the multi-terrain functionality then do? Because a lot of other vehicles, 4x4 vehicles or four-wheel drive vehicles with multi-terrain, part of the mapping is depending on what terrain you've set at, it will initially try and pull the vehicle off in second gear.
Second gear, correct.
It's almost a bit of a
overkill
button that. Plus you've got paddle shift, you can select second
Yeah,
gear.
I think that's very interesting. Huh? So you'll run into manual and you can just go to second. So I guess, you know what it is? It reminds me of like this morning in our launch in the Mercedes. We've got functionality on the steering wheel to do everything. You've got a touch screen to do exactly the same thing. You've got a mouse pad to do everything, and you've got voice activation. so if you want overkill, this is not that bad. It's only two options.
No, fair enough. But I've got to say, I'm sorry to be negative auntie here, but either I need glasses or this screen is fuzzy.
No, I think you need glasses. No, I'm kidding.
It's not very high definition.
No. Yeah, unless there's a light switch to turn it up. But look, Peter, the thing is, for me, looking at this market, I can't fault this vehicle. The fuel consumption, its stability, they've improved it from the previous model.
Look,
that
I mean, it's a very comfortable vehicle. We're going over some serious speed bumps here and a pretty, I nearly swore here, but a pretty dodgy road.
Yeah.
And it's uber comfortable. It's nice and quiet. Look, we haven't gone on the freeway, so I can't tell whether the wind noise is going to be a factor. But it's comfortable. I love the space. It is big. But Vish, we're talking 1.2 million rand here. Eh?
Okay, but Peter, let's put it into perspective, please. And I said this to one of my friends in the other vehicle that we're in the process of purchasing, is that certain brands since COVID have gone up by 27%. Put that into perspective. So 20%. So if this started at 800 grand, 20% on that would already take it over 1 million. So what are you getting nowadays? If you look at certain vehicles, I mean, once you actually price stuff, I mean, even the new TI, which were at the launch the other day, the BM, that's coming in at 700k, and it's a GTI competitor.
Yeah.
So what's the new Golf 8 going to come in? 800, 850. So I think a baseline now versus back in the day is $1 million. If you're entering luxury market or 4x4 market, you got to start at a bar. The Mustang is probably the last of the supercars that we're going to have for just over $1 million. Once the new ones come in at the new prices, I don't even know where they're going to sit.
Yeah, no, true story. Okay, getting back to the cluster.
Yes.
It looks like you have a tire that's lost pressure.
Yeah, so that was an interesting one. When it shows it, it's actually the spare tire
Oh,
that
wow.
is on low pressure. That's pretty cool.
Okay, so they've got a spare tire pressure monitor.
Oh, spare tire pressure monitor. Say that 3 times quickly. So have I convinced you yet?
I'm in 2 minds, actually, Vish. I agree that the vehicle does represent proper value for money, I suppose, at the end of the day. It is a Toyota, and that counts bags in terms of resale value, appeal, all those good things. Yeah, so, I mean, I wouldn't say no to this car.
But I see you sort of teetering on the brink of no. I don't have you a yes, we can vote yet.
Well, I tell you what, you offer me a decent discount, we're in.
Oh, no problem. We'll phone them. So, okay, let's come to ratings then. Since I haven't been very convincing of you.
Okay, so I'm going to start off and again, I'll justify, we talk about the segments that the vehicles play in. Is this the best vehicle in its segment? Well, we can debate that. I tell you where I'm going to be critical of it is that I do feel there's still a lot of legacy in terms of old technology that's still being applied to a 2021 model that is an all-new model. And on that basis, I'm going to give it a score of 6 out of 10.
Okay, all right, so I haven't been that good at it. Okay, for me, just from the sheer drivability of it, what it represents, also just across the value chain as to what else is out there, and we did discuss it, I would go at a 9 out of 10 for this.
All right, so there you go. Once again, we don't agree at all, which is a good thing because then you get a balanced view.
Balancing view.
All right, so that's it from Vish and myself on Let's Talk Automotive, and we will see you next week.
And straight into guest of the week, and we've got Peach van Pletzen joining us. Thank you very much for joining us.
It's good to be here.
I'm feeling a bit schizophrenic. I don't know if I should say Peach or van Pletzen or
Look, when in doubt, you can go with Groothoorn.
Groothoorn.
Funny you say that because when I forwarded the link for the show on my Facebook, a couple of people came back and they said, "Ooh, die Groothoorn."
No pressure.
So Peach, yeah, it's interesting that we have you on the show today because you're sort of not really like the car guy, are you?
Not really much of a car guy. The only thing I'm really riding at the moment is my skateboard. And but I mean, yeah.
But there is, and we'll get to that.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of car stuff that we're going to talk about. But I think let's start off with a little bit of background, Peach.
Okay.
Tell us about. We've actually got some photos of you when you were a youngster. So let's start with some youngster photos. Who's that?
Oh, whoa.
Who's
That
that?
is, I guess,
You?
a little me with a guitar and some Buddy Holly glasses and my
Yeah.
sister.
Okay, and then the next one is going to throw you a little bit because I want to talk about the hairstyle back then. This is when you were
man.
14.
Oh, wow. How did you get that?
We
That
dig
one is
deep,
supposed
buddy.
to
We
be-
dig deep.
I worked hard to try and hide that.
Nah, man, I think it looks pretty cool. So
But who were you inspired by to have that?
Look,
hair?
you
Ethan
want
Hawke
to
or-
know? You want to know?
Yeah, yeah.
Those were the Titanic Leonardo DiCaprio days.
interesting.
You're right. Yeah.
So
Okay.
music's been a part of your life right from the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, I started on drums when I was like 6 or 7, just messing around, but I've always loved music and listening to music. And then during high school, I was doing drama, and the plan was always to become an actor. But then when I was 15 or 16, music sort of grabbed the spotlight, and then it was just downhill or uphill from there. What's better, downhill or uphill?
Uphill.
Let's-
Until you're getting to the top.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
True. It was uphill.
Downhill
from
is
there.
when you join a show like this.
Well, so I went uphill from there and I'm back down the hill now.
So currently, what you guys busy with and working on?
I mean, at the moment, there's not a lot of live shows happening.
Sure.
But in a weird way, it's been a good reset, and we've been working on some new music. And also, I've been working on a talk show, kind of like this, but
Oh.
it's very philosophical, and it's called Prating. And it's
Prating.
in Mengels, so that everyone can verstaan.
Oh, I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. I mean, I think I'm actually fluent in Engels because I'm an English fillion. Yeah.
English Viljoen definitely knows
Yeah.
the
And
sacred
from
arts.
Natal, by the way, from Durban. And there we only learned half of Afrikaans because the rest of the time we were surfing or smoking, doing homework.
Yeah, you only need to know half of Afrikaans.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I'm here on a car show and
And you no.
I don't even know what a clutch is.
You want to talk to him about his first car?
Yeah, what was your first car? You had a TT as your first car.
Toyota Conquest.
I thought you had a Toyota Taz.
No, it was
Oh.
actually before the Taz. It was the Green Goblin, it was called.
A green goblin.
It was the green Toyota Conquest. I was
Yeah.
the first of my friends to get a car.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when I got my license and I had, got the car, they all got in and we just drove around for
Does this bring back any memories?
kind of, yeah. I mean,
Related to that car?
it related to me.
Yes. Does this sound
This
relate
sound,
to anything to that car?
Oh my word! You just, oh my word! That car was covered in Haridakak 6 days out of the week. I would have it cleaned and it would be clean for one day, and I was the only one that had to park outside under the akkerboom.
Okay.
And that's where the Haridas lived. And it would, your research goes deep, by the
Told you.
way. And they would like bekak the car, like, yeah. And I would have to go on like dates and to university and to school and everything with this, like, you know,
Paint
Harida
protection.
packs a mean punch.
I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
If I can quote the research that I got, and this was in Afrikaans, I think the words that came out of your mouth is that Harida se poepel het op my kar ontplof.
Look, that's true. It is true. And yeah, I mean, but that was the price you pay. I was like, I had a car finally. I had a license and a car.
Awesome.
And yeah, I was for long the one friend that then always had to drive, which I didn't realize until later. It's actually a burden.
Correct.
Yeah.
Moving on to your second car, because there's another story about this car. Oh no, there's lots of stories, but we won't talk about some of them.
Not on camera, at least.
Yes, the Peugeot partner.
Yes.
the PP.
The PP.
The old Peugeot partner.
Okay, so apparently this car is still in the industry.
Yes, it was a noble steed.
Yes.
And I got it originally for transporting and carting my drum kit to and from
Gigs and
gigs.
stuff, yeah.
And I also realized that you could pop a mattress in the back and sleep in the car if you need to,
I hear you.
which solved the problem of the Green Goblin being the only one driving. Now I can sleep.
Sure.
And I'm nervous about the story that you guys have about this car.
No. It's just the fact that it actually moved and stayed in
Yes,
the
so
in the
now it was
industry.
actually purchased by Bauer Bosch.
Yes.
So he's using it now for, I think, maybe Liefdeven deliveries or something.
Yes.
And I almost borrowed it the other day to pick up a
Really?
couch, but
Amazing.
I didn't. It would have been too emotional to go back there.
We've got a couple of questions from the viewers, so can we jump into that? We've got Keith Buerto, who's actually watching from the States at the moment. Okay, so Keith says, question for the big dog, what is your perfect festival car and why?
Actually, I would say the perfect festival car was the Peugeot partner because of the mattress.
Say
no more.
We need to qualify this.
So look, here's what you can do. You have everything in the back, but when you
Yes.
park it, you move everything to the front, open the partner doors in the little copy thing, and you put a gazebo over the back of the Peugeot partner, and you got your front porch and your master suite bedroom, and you open the side door for ensuite bathroom if you need to use that at night. So
Because every tree is a lavatory at a festival.
Yes.
exactly. And so are the cars. I mean, I've definitely woken up with someone peeing on the partner before.
Okay, we need to move on a little bit. I've got another question here from Tina Pino and says, why the Groot Hond?
Groot Hond came from a music video called Awaken Lekkerness. It's very difficult to answer this question fast, but Awaken the Lekkerness is a kung fu tale, and I was the master.
We've got a picture of that as well.
Yes, and that right there is Groot Hond, who inspires young Naxi to awaken his inner lekkerness, and then the name Groot Hond just sort of stuck from that point. Yeah.
Interesting.
Can't pick your nicknames.
We won't tell you what name stuck with Fanie.
You can tell them. I'm not...
Fugly.
Yeah, Fugly. Fugly was my nickname.
Fugly.
Yeah.
Fugly is an endearing
Yes.
nickname. It could have just been...
It could have been.
It could have been.
It's like cute.
Yeah.
There's so much that we need to talk about.
Okay.
Let's talk about the music. Let's talk about the drumming.
Yeah. I mean, not only that, I mean, maybe we can combine a question. So obviously you knew from your mid-teens that music was going to be a passion. You were quite a clever guy at school. You got 3 distinctions at school. And then you went off to TUT and
I can
you
even tell
studied
them what
music.
it was.
Yeah, go for it.
It was English, it was history and drama.
Wow.
Yeah. And then you went off to TUT and you studied music?
Yes.
Drumming.
Yes.
Drumming?
Yeah.
And we've actually got some pictures of that as well, so we'll show that. Tell us about this.
Wow. Yo. I'm amazed at where these things come from. Yeah, that is me probably at Sun City Super Bowl, maybe? I don't know. Could
And
be.
there's another one at a festival, the next one here.
Oh, that's in the Netherlands.
Yes.
What?
Yeah, that was a lovely show. And me and this little blonde guy on the right, on my right, over my right shoulder, we partied so hard after this because the adrenaline, it keeps you going. And when we woke up the next day, that was one of the top 5 worst
Hangover.
that I've ever had in my life.
Okay, and then I need to show the guys at home this because I don't think a lot of people know this about you. And Fritz, we can go into this little drum solo.
What?
And the guys at home can have a listen to you just beating the drums. This is proper talent, man.
Yes, see.
I can't even get beats on one drum. I'm having a whole lot together.
I didn't even know this clip existed. Where is this?
So Tina Pina just commented and she said that she thinks that Fanie is die groot hond se stalker.
Well, yeah.
So I'll let the guys at home know that I actually know your mother. So that's
Okay.
that's
That worries me even more.
That's
I'll
how
be
I
honest.
got this.
worse.
That did not come out well. I think we must move on.
Moving on.
Okay, so there's a automotive theme here.
Okay.
Okay, so we can show the guys because I didn't actually see this before. We show the guys the Duke clip quickly.
All right.
Tell us about this because this is very interesting. What happened here?
So, when I started moving into audio production, I got approached by this agency to do an advert for Nissan Duke. I of course said yes because I thought I was going to get the car, but that didn't happen. And they wanted me to make a song out of the car and use the car, and I immediately thought, what's the first step? And I thought I'm going to start with the indicator and figure out what tempo that is, and then work using the car's indicator as a sort of metronome, and then use the steering wheel, the boot, and have my helper over there capturing all the sounds. And then I drove through the Joburg streets and had a very responsible lekker time.
Wow.
Yeah.
You just go international. I mean, this looks international quality, and that guy looks like a younger Gareth Cliff. Not that guy. The other guy.
That guy looks like a younger George Clooney.
Yeah, so the viewers at home can actually listen to this right at the moment. It's very cool, man. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I think we unfortunately sort of running out of time, and we need to get to my favorite part of the game or the show, and it's called Game Time. But before we get there, you've done a lot of collaborations with a lot of local artists and looks like overseas and everything. What would be the one?
Look, one thing I have to mention is my good friend Early B is actually a big car guy. He's through and through a Honda man.
Okay.
VTEC, vinnig in die limiter. He even raps about it, and he builds up Hondas and he races.
That's
And so and I just love working with him, his energy and the way, how effortless his talent comes to him. For some artists, it's this tortured process where you have to sweat and bleed for your art. For him, it's like, nah, bro, I'll write this quick, man. quick. It's like having a coffee, writing this best verse I've ever heard. So it's always a Joel collaborating with Early B.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a question that the producer just asked me in my ear, did you ask him, why is your engine so groot?
No, I haven't yet, but I will now.
Okay.
Of course, I will have to.
Yeah, so like he says in my ear again, why is your horror so groot? Was just it kept us going through lockdown. That music video just it plays often in the studio.
And now it's not even that groot there. Now
Yeah.
it's proper groot, and the problem is, I never knew that line was such a almost improvised throwaway. Like I was like, cool, we need something here to start the scene. Oh, okay, I know, because I was kind of growing out my hair, and someone once shouted from the crowd, "Your horror is weird," and I was like, maybe I can use this music video to clear this up. Ask me why my horror is so groot, and I'll just, you know.
It's my dog.
And then that stuck.
Yes.
For some reason, that stuck.
Yeah,
So it shows you, yeah.
amazing. All right, Peach, I think we can go on for like another hour. It's just been so much fun.
Yeah, okay, let's do it.
But unfortunately, we have to carry on because there's another show after us. But let's get into game time.
Cool.
Okay, so how this works is we're going to show you a partial picture of a car, and the guys at home actually play along as well. So guys at home, if you're watching, you can also give your answers in the comments below the video. We're going to show you a partial. You have to then shout your name if you recognize the car.
Shall I shout my name?
Yes.
Yeah.
So what are
Don't
you
shout
going
Fanie's name because then it'll be very suspect. Shout your name.
Okay.
Okay. If you recognize the car, I'm going to give you a point. And normally Peter loses, so don't stress about this. Okay.
It's rigged, I tell you.
So here comes the first one.
That Peach?
Yes.
It must be Honda.
Yes.
Ballade Civic.
Yes. Absolutely correct.
Yes, I
look
wanted
at that.
to say.
That's Early's car. isn't
Early
it?
would. I already the cock out of that.
Okay, so this is going according to plan 1-0 to Peach. Okay, let's go to the second one.
Peter.
Peter, what is that?
That's a Ford Ranger, mate.
Yes, you are correct. So
Okay.
can you see what we've done here? The theme for tonight? Can you see where we're going
Yeah,
a little bit?
classy, classic
Classy.
family cars.
Yes.
Vup comes to mind.
Yeah. Em is watching. She said that was a Honda. You're absolutely correct. Tina says we must actually now get Early B on the show because he's a car guy.
Listen, he would do this in a heartbeat. I'm going to ask him when he's in Gauteng
Okay,
next.
awesome. All right, so it's 1-1 to Peter and Peach, and here comes the third one.
Hey, Peach.
Peach, what is
Isaac
that?
got a fawn.
I'm going to give you a bonus point if you can tell me which one.
Something that starts with the SU, maybe
Sunseeker?
No.
Sunset?
You're definitely getting the point anyway, so don't stress.
Sunroof?
It's very interesting because I wanted to throw you guys here.
Is it a Sprite?
This is a Sprite Swift.
Swift, of
Yes.
course.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Look, I stayed in one of those for a number of years, but we won't get into that now.
All right, so that is the third one, 2-1 to Peach at the moment. All right, guys. So now we're moving on a little bit into more proudly South African cars, okay?
Okay.
All right, so here comes the fourth one.
Peter.
Oh,
That's a police car. No, it's a Nissan NP300.
Okay, this is getting a bit too close to comfort for me with this very close
yeah,
between you
so
guys.
that's 2-2, but I was going to call it something else, so I'm glad you answered.
A fast police car.
A
Police car.
Okay,
other bad than that.
so Leon Bienek got Swift right, but it was a Sprite Swift caravan.
Yes.
Okay, so Leon knows his caravans, obviously. Okay, so it's 2-2. This next one, guys.
The decider.
No, it's not the decider. There's 3 to come.
Okay.
There's 7. So this next one, on the roads in South Africa, lots in the news. Here comes the 5th one.
Oh, Peach.
Yes, Peach, what is that?
Okay, it's one of the money trucks.
Yes, I'm going to go with a cash in transit.
Cash in transit money truck.
Yes.
But now, what are those trucks? Because they bulked up so much. It's like
I'm going to give you the point anyway, so don't stress.
You want to say?
It's actually a Hino. Is that
Hino?
Hino.
Yeah, I never would have gotten that.
Yeah. I know, you know,
But-
you know, potato.
Yeah, but that was another on the South
A
African
lot of
roads.
geld in that thing.
Lot of
If
geld.
rappers really want to be cool, they should
Yes.
drive that thing around. 'Cause
I
that's got the
The
real
problem is when I
money.
see a cash and transit robbery, listen to me, Freudian slip. When I see a cash and transit vehicle, I start to think a little bit about, you know,
Yes.
do I get a Sikorsky helicopter to pick it up? And,
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, guys, so it's 3-2 to Peach at the moment, and we're going to number 6.
what? Oh, okay.
Come on, guys.
Peach?
Yes, Peach.
Is that a taxi?
Absolutely, my man.
So that's a Toyota.
That's the
Quantum.
That is absolutely correct.
Sure.
Okay, so it's over and done with the competition. So let's just make Peter look bad with the last one. Now
Oh, that's just nasty.
Well, you can pull it back now.
I can redeem
you
myself
can
a little
redeem
bit.
yourself
Yeah.
a little bit. But this last one is difficult. Difficult. So here comes the last one, guys.
Oh,
Peter. That is definitely a Ford Cortina.
Yeah? Yeah?
Ford Cortina.
I'm going to be very strict on
Bucky.
you.
A Bucky.
Yes, Bucky.
Sheesh. That's a rough crowd. The only reason why I knew it was a Bucky is because it doesn't have alloy wheels.
Those things were hot back
Is that
in
a
the
lacquer
day.
Oh,
car?
I love them, man.
Or
Those were my best.
Okay.
All right, guys, that brings us to the end of our segment. Peach, thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you guys
us.
so much.
Thank you.
It was great
Really
being here.
awesome.
Say something in Mengels to the viewers.
Listen, the lekker thing about Mengels is you got soveel meer woorde to druk yourself uit. And then English, Afrikaans, everybody can verstaan, and that's lekker.
on Let's Talk Automotive.
Hey?
Hierso op Let's Talk Automotive.
Let's praat automotive.
All right, guys, thank you very
Okay.
much, Peach. That
Thank
was
you.
awesome.
Thanks, Peach.
Awesome. That was great.
All right, guys, we're going to move on to our second to last segment, and this is how things work. And in tonight's segment, we talk about servicing your car. This is part 2, Peach.
Yep, so we look more towards major services and what happens during a major service. So,
All right.
yeah.
And this is proudly brought to you by Suzuki Auto South Africa.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Automotive and our segment on what happens during a service when you take your vehicle in for either a minor or a major service. Now, last time we were at Vatswaye, and we've come upstairs now to Penta Motor Group into the Suzuki workshop, where we're going to take you through some of the elements of a major service. So what I've decided to do is to actually take the service schedule for the Suzuki Ertiga, and it illustrates very clearly the differences between what we typically would do with a minor service and then with a major service. So we'll recap a little bit in terms of some of the issues that we went through last time. So let's have a look here. The service intervals on the Ertiga are every 15,000 kilometers. So if we have a look at the engine, we're going to replace oil and oil filters every service. But when it comes to our engine drive belt, for example, we're only going to replace that every 90,000 kilometers. So that clearly falls into our definition of what a major service would be. When it comes to spark plugs, we replace those every 45,000 kilometers. Our air filter, and that's the engine air filter, also every 45,000 kilometers. But during your minor services, it will be inspected because sometimes we operate our vehicle under different conditions. So like myself, I live on a dirt road, so I'm going to have my filter perhaps replaced more often than somebody who always drives on a tarmac road. And then our fuel filter is replaced also every 45,000 kilometers. Then we have our emissions control valve, which is inspected every 90,000 kilometers. And when it comes to brake fluid, our brake fluid is also replaced every, in this case, every 30,000 kilometers. And then our transmission fluid, or transmission oil, should I rather say, is replaced every 45,000 kilometers. And then, of course, our cabin filter for our air conditioning system is also replaced every 45,000 kilometers. So in the case of the Suzuki Ertiga, you can see clearly that every 45,000 kilometers we would consider that to be a major service. Now obviously each manufacturer and each model has subcategories of services and very specific service schedules that occur with those categories, and obviously the more complex a vehicle, different things get done to that vehicle itself. Now there's a few other things that we're going to check while we have the vehicle up and during a major service, which I'll take you through now. So some of the other elements that we're going to inspect during our major service includes having a look at our wheel bearings, and we do that with the wheels on, and we try and get any sort of movement out of the wheel from top and bottom to inspect the wheel bearings. And then we'll also check some of the steering elements by trying to pull on the wheel left and right to see if there's any movement there. And then on a major service, we're also going to measure up the condition of the discs as well as the brake pads themselves. And in the case of the Ertiga, where it's got drum brakes, we'll measure the actual condition of the brake shoes on the rear. And then if we come underneath the vehicle, we're going to start inspecting some of the suspension components. So we'll check the bushes to see if the bushes are still in good condition. While we're here, we can have a look at the CV boots, both on the outer and on the inner side of the shaft. And we can also inspect to see if there's any leakages on the shock absorber. And if we move underneath the engine, we can start to inspect the gearbox mounts and the engine mounts. We'll have a look at from the top. And we'll also have a look to see if there's any leakages from the engine or the gearbox itself. And then just looking further back underneath the vehicle, we'll have a look to see if any wiring has been damaged or ripped out, or any piping, for example, that exists over here, and the condition of the exhaust, and for any other damage that might have occurred with the driver of the vehicle perhaps impacting something on the road. So you can see that there is a lot that goes into both a minor and a major service from an inspection point of view, perhaps a replacement point of view as well. And that's why our recommendation is that even if your vehicle is out of warranty, you should really still take it back to the franchised operation for its services, because the dealerships will then have the proper, correct special tools. They'll have the training schedules. They'll also have the correct experience in terms of technicians. And importantly as well, is that when they plug in the diagnostic tester, they will be able to see if there are any outstanding workshop campaigns or any software updates that might need to occur on the vehicle. So that's it on our episode on how things work and having a look at what goes on behind the scenes when you take your car in for a service. We hope that it was useful for you, and we look forward to seeing you on next week's episode of Let's Talk Automotive.
Interesting as always, Peter, for you. Thank you very much for sharing all the knowledge.
It's a great pleasure.
That you've come over the 75 years that you've been on this earth. It's really cool to have old people like you telling the younger people, you know, all about the.
I can't wait till your birthday in December when you crack 40.
Okay, Pete. So we spoke about Formula One. We touched on MotoGP.
Yeah.
And so I thought that tonight's Tappet of the Week, and I must say that this was actually sent to us by a viewer, by the way.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so Corin, thank you very much for sending us this video. And this is just to give you guys a little bit of a feel for the MotoGP season that's going to start this Sunday.
Ooh, can't wait.
So here's Tappet of the Week.
Pretty hectic there, but Valentino Rossi trying to carve his way
Don't you
back
just
through
miss
the field.
these
There
voices?
I do,
He
man.
lost the championship here 9
It's
years
quite realistic as well. It's like
Yeah.
they're there.
We need to keep
Real
quiet for
difficulty
this one,
finding
Pete,
a
so
way
just
through
check
on
this
number
out.
68, Yoni Hernandez. No way through there as they run down on the brakes. There is no Rossi, brilliantly late on the brakes. He's finally past the South American, now up into 14th place. And he's up the inside of Bautista as well. Super aggressive from Rossi. He's on the charge.
Rossi on the charge up the inside of Alvaro Bautista.
He mugs Rossi on the outside. Rossi looks really close.
Marcus has scored! Marcus has
Rossi was...
scored! And what about this last row, Matt?
He pulled a bit of a move on Marquez there.
Yeah, he did. Listen, I've watched that a million times and I laugh every time. When he comes off the bike and the commentators,
the timing is impeccable.
I just love it.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you, Corin. That was amazing. All right, Pete, that brings us to the end of an epic show.
Yeah,
That was lots of fun.
We've got something though to look forward to for next week, though. Of course, we've got the review on the Mazda
CX-3.
There's a joke behind that. And then we also have a look at the SureCam product, which I've had fitted to my Bucky now for a while, and we'll be taking you through some of the features and benefits of the SureCam
product line. Yeah, awesome. Right, guys, thank you very much for all of you joining us. That was amazing, and we'll see you again next week, same time, same place.
Cheers, guys.